Hey friends, happy Monday. Thanks for checking back with us. It's hard to believe it's already week 4 in our 10-week series, Spiritually Sufficient and Locally Sustainable. This week we're going to be talking about one of my favorite music groups, the Elements, Earth, Wind, and Fire. So when we're talking this week about Earth, Wind, and Fire, we're actually talking about physical elements that are going to contribute to your sustainable strategy success. So when we talk about Earth, obviously, soil is a foundation of whatever you're doing as it contributes to your sustainable strategy. So whether you're constructing a garden, you're raising some animals, maybe you're building some outbuildings, or you're building an entire new property, you need to know your soil composition and how you make your soil and your specific location work for you. So we'll give you some resources at the local and the state level. Usually these resources are free. Everything that we give to you, we'll try to make them free resources, and they're really out there if you know where to look. For us in Texas, we have the Texas A&M Agricultural Extension, which is a fantastic resource for my friends that live in Texas. But also we'll share some links to the U.S. Geological Survey website that you can look up soil composition by state. We'll also talk about some site and area surveys, so you need to know not only the terrain but the features in your area, not only your specific property but within a certain mile radius, to help you determine how that fits into your sustainable strategy as well. When we talk about wind, I wish there was some wind out here today. It's just hot. You can see behind me, that's not a error on the phone today. It's just white hot out here, no wind. But obviously as we get into hurricane season in some areas of the country, wind is a big factor that you need to take into consideration as a potential threat when we talked about the SWOT analysis a couple weeks ago. So we'll talk about some ways to harness wind, to protect your property from wind. As a licensed independent insurance agent, I'll give you some pointers on how to make sure you're fully covered for wind events, so not only wind insurance but hurricane insurance as well. And then we'll also talk about the weather. Wind is a large part of the weather, and you need to take that into consideration when you're building your plan. So we'll give you some tips and some resources on how to become more efficient and more effective at predicting the weather. The National Weather Service offers a free class that you get a certificate for at the end. It's called Skywarn, and at the end of the training you can be a certified weather spotter. So it not only benefits yourself being out in the backyard, in the garden, or maybe you're at the park with some friends, but also in the event of an emergency, especially a severe weather event, you can actually be a resource and plug in to your local community to help respond to the weather and help predict the weather. And lastly, we'll talk about fire. Like I said, it's fire hot out here, but we'll get the barbecue pit lit up this week. We'll get the fire ring lit up. Actually, our kids will help us. We'll have some instructional videos on a few ways how to build fire, whether in your backyard. And it's just an enjoyable time for friends and family. You're going to roast some marshmallows, all the way to making primitive fire. If you're out in an emergency survival situation, we'll show you how to do all those. And then as well, when we talk about fire, we need to talk about the reasons that we use fire. So obviously it's for warmth. It can be for cooking. It can be for creating tools. We'll give you some links and some resources on ways that you can leverage fire in your specific sustainable strategy. And then lastly, in all of these elements, again, they all point back to the spiritually sufficient part. So we'll share some scriptures about how God and Christ has actually manifested themselves throughout history in earth and in wind and in fire, and we'll tie it all together. So stay tuned with us, stick with us this week. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and as well check out all the latest links and information we're going to give out on our social media at 3FFarmTX. It's about that time, it's that limit. I'm going to go inside and cool off. Y'all take care. We'll stay tuned.